I'd like to call this meeting to order. And at this time, we will go to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 3.02, approval of agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm opening it for discussion.
I would like to make a motion that 901 move up to immediately follow this motion on 302 after the approval of the agenda.
Do I have a motion?
That was the motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seeing 9.01 moved to now, this is discussion, consideration, and possible action of discipline of student 2526-001. Does any board member wish to make a motion concerning the changes made against Zamani M. Randolph and the recommendation of the hearing officer? Mrs. Windsor.
I move that the governing board affirm the recommendation of the hearing officer to long-term suspend student Zamoni M. Randolph through May 28, 2026, or place her at Evans Alternative Schooling after finding that Zamoni M. Randolph received appropriate due process, that policy JKD was followed in all substantive respects, and that a long-term suspension or alternative placement is an appropriate consequence for her misconduct.
Do I open for discussion? All those in favor? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Lemon.
No, I think one of the things that's interesting about this case, I've been on the board for over 20 years. This is the first time we've had something in open session about student discipline. And in looking at the information, I saw that there's several different addresses where the student lives. Is that correct?
Me and mother mother has a separate address. I've been at my address for 28 years.
Okay, thank you. And looking at the information in the packet, I was disturbed that a middle school student would behave in such a manner to throw computers around or knock computers around into other people and particularly with the teacher. And so I'm upset that that happened, and it's not my decision to expel you, and that's not the process here.
It's not your decision or the process?
Madam President, if I had my preference, I'd rather expel the student, but that's not the procedure that we followed in this particular case. It was just long-term suspension. And that's what the hearing officer agreed to. And I think Ms. Windsor said either agree to the hearing officers or alternative placement at Evans.
We have the motion. We have the second. We've opened for discussion. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I would like to make the last
All
closing
those in
statement.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You opened it for the last discussion on that. You said it was open for discussion. I'd like to read the closing statement before you move on. Mr.
4.01, approval modification of minutes from the October 15th governing board meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from the October 15th governing board meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Item 4.02, approval modification of minutes from the October 15th, 2025 executive session. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from the October 15th executive session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Motion passes. Item 5.01, approval of a consent agenda. Do I have a approval of consent agenda? Do I have a motion?
Yes, motion to approve the consent agenda for tonight.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? I'd like to thank DD's Discounts, the Tempe Diablos, and State Farm for their generous donations of books and 300 meal boxes for our community valued at more than $22,000. I'd also like to introduce Joshua Buckley, our Assistant Director of Human Resources, who will make a special introduction. Thank you, Joshua. I can, yeah. Can you hear it? We can't hear you. Hold on.
It's green.
It
But I think
is.
they got. Yeah. Oh, that one works. All right, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Driscoll, I would like to highlight an individual that you have approved on the personnel summary this evening. Tonight, you approved Mark Lubbers to the position of Transportation Supervisor. I'd like to share a little bit about Mark. Mark Lubbers joined Tempe Elementary in August 2017 as a school bus driver, quickly earning a reputation for his reliability, patience, and commitment to safety. He took pride in creating a positive start and end to each student's day, consistently maintaining all required certifications and an excellent driving record. He then took on the responsibility of being a trainer of our bus drivers in 2019, where he trains both new and veteran drivers on safety procedures, student management, and state and federal transportation regulations. Mark's dedication to safety, professionalism, and teamwork ensures that every student receives a safe, dependable, and positive transportation experience each day. Now, Mark will be taking on the role of the Transportation Supervisor in our Transportation Department. We look forward to Mark bringing his dedication and commitment to his new role as Transportation Supervisor. Congratulations, Mark, and thank you for your continued commitment to TD3. Mark is here. I'd like to invite him up to the podium, be able to say a few words and introduce who's with him today.
Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Driscoll. I didn't know what I was signing up for when I came here 8 years ago. I was looking for a part-time job. These past years have been absolutely the most rewarding years of my life, and no one could have told me that coming in. You could have never guessed. I am grateful every morning I get to come up and do what I do. We have a fantastic crew of folks with Jesse and all the folks in transportation. I love the kids. It's an amazing experience, and I hope I can continue doing this for many more years. With this new position, I will continue to give you my best every day to support our community, our families, our children, and of course to support the amazing crew, the staff we have at the Transportation Department that every day comes in and gets it done. Thank you. Oh. Along with the staff of the Transportation Department, Jesse and Gilbert and Rochelle and Angel and LJ, the folks that help me every day get done what I need to get done. I brought my wife, Kimberly, and my good friends, Paul and Gwen, who we met raising our kids through the Tempe Elementary School system. So anyway, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just want to say he said the happiest day of his life was marrying you when he interviewed with me. So just want to give him kudos.
So that was happiest day B. All right, 6.01, celebrate excellence. I will turn it over to Superintendent Dr. Driscoll.
All right. Ben got me queued up. All right. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. Tonight I have a few items to celebrate. In honor of November being Native American Heritage Month, I'd like to take a moment to spotlight Tempe Elementary School's Native American program. The Native American program provides invaluable support to our Native American students by addressing both academic and cultural needs. Through tutoring opportunities, assistance with school uniforms, supplies, and activities that celebrate Native culture, the program helps students thrive and stay connected to their heritage. Earlier this year, the Native American program hosted a Blue Corn Mush event And on November 12th, they will partner with Kitt Peak National Observatory for a presentation focused on bridging science and traditional culture. Later this school year, they'll continue their cultural engagement through drum making and skirt making events. We applaud the Native American Program Committee and participants for their dedication and ongoing contributions to the success and well-being of Tempe Elementary students and family. Earlier this month, 8th graders at Shamley School had the opportunity to test their financial literacy skills and learn from an NFL legend when Visa brought its financial football game to campus. Larry Fitzgerald, Mayor Corey Woods, and members of the Arizona Credit Unions Association joined students to share the importance of financial responsibility and coach them through football-themed competition. Larry wasn't a good coach. I just want you to let you know, like, his coaching of students on one side, they didn't do well, so I just want to put that publicly. Larry wasn't a good coach for our students. I told him I was going to do it. I told him, so.
Perhaps he needs another session of coaching?
Yes, and a jersey for myself and my daughters, and sign it, please. And yes, sorry, I digress. All right. Esports gamers from Mosley and Connolly convened at Mosley Learning Commons for a head-to-head esports tournament. Esports, short for electronic sports, are organized competitive video game tournaments where individuals or teams compete. After 3 rounds of competition and over 30 participants, a team of 6th graders from Mosley were crowned the champions. The event was made possible through a collaboration between our digital innovators, IT, transportation, school leadership, and esports teachers from both schools. 7 Tempe elementary schools received an A rating from the Arizona Department of Education for the 2024-2025 school year. Congratulations to Arredondo Elementary, Broadmoor Elementary, Fuller Elementary, McCamey Academy, Meyer Montessori, and Rover Elementary. And Ward. And that concludes my Celebrate Excellence.
Thank you, Dr. Driscoll. Item 7.01, update on Connolly Middle School and Curry Elementary rebuild. I'd like to introduce Katrina Leach from DLR Architects and Jeff Smith and Brian Ham from Core Construction to share this update.
All right, I'm going to give a little preview if that's all right. President Windsor, Dr. Driscoll, members of the board. So we have GMP 1. President Ewers, thank you. We have GMP 1 out of 2, so this will be the first phase of it, mostly for demolition and earthwork, preparing the fields for it. So we're going to have Core and DLR present kind of the overlay of what the buildings are going to look like, and it's pretty exciting stuff, so we're pretty excited to have that. But we're going to start first with Brian Ham, with Core Construction.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Driscoll. My name is Brian Ham. I am proud to be a project director at Core, and very proud to be assigned to this project for Connolly Curry. First, I want to extend our gratitude for the trust that this board and Dr. Driscoll and your team have put in us to take on such a massive undertaking. This is, new schools don't come around often, and we are so proud to be able to be a part of this. My job tonight is to try to explain kind of the logistics that we have planned for the rest of this project, and then we'll go into the design and some details on the GMP. If I click next, will this go, or will I break everything? Okay. Perfect. That would be a bad way to start. Right. So as you can see, this is Connolly Curry. So just to orient everyone, north is up on this map. You can see Connolly Curry right in the center, kind of that turquoise color, the existing campus. Off to the east and west in the yellow areas you can see where the new buildings will go. So east side Connolly, west side Curry. The red dashed line around each yellow area, that is fencing that we put up. It's up already, actually. We will screen it for privacy to allow us to do our job and create separation between the operation of of both campuses while we build. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, so let's jump to phase one. You can see the new buildings are shown in kind of that magenta color. Blue areas are where you have our construction trailers and laydown area. And so that's what we're gonna look like for the next year and a half or so, building these buildings while everything on the existing campus is running just the way that it is today. You just have new buildings going up in your playfield instead of a bunch of grass to go run in. That leads us to phase two. This is a critical summer. This is the summer of 2027. So our job is to have those buildings up as early as possible so that we can start moving everything it takes to turn a building into a school, into those areas. And then the first day of summer break, as you can see in some of these areas, phase three is in the green. So we have a new parking lot at Curry, some fire lanes, a drop-off lane. Connolly has a fire lane, and those are overlapping with the existing buildings. So we have to go in immediately, take down those areas so that we can turn over a school that has a fire lane, that has a place for people to park, so you can go do what you do every day. And then that's a huge milestone, but the project isn't over. So starting end of summer 2027, we move into phase three. So that turns, you guys are teaching and learning in your new buildings. We are continuing demolition for the existing Connolly and Curry, and that turns into football, track, baseball fields, and a parking lot. So kind of the flip-flop that everybody does. You've got a school and fields, now you've got a field, you've got school and fields on the interior. That's kind of the logistics that we have planned for this project. Takes us all the way to December 2027. Happy to answer any questions you have once we're all done, but I think this is a good time for Katrina Leach from DLR Group to walk us through the design that we're going to put in place.
Thank you. Madam President, Governing Board, I'm excited to be back here to share some more design updates. I know we talked previously before the summer, so we've made a lot of progress since then. I'd love to share where we are currently. This is a reminder of kind of what Brian kind of showed as our fields and where our buildings are, just where Connolly's to the east, Curry's to the west there. And then also our conversations with design always progress with the idea of our design goals and making sure we're keeping those forefront. So I just want to reiterate what those are: safety and security, flexibility, and that movement focus for our design of both of our campuses. So we're going to touch on Curry first, and so a little bit of a reminder. Some of these might look familiar of what you have seen previously, but I want to make sure that it's nice and fresh in your mind. So the top right there is your Curry entry from the parking lot. You can kind of see the overall on the top left there. The middle right, bottom left, those are all kind of coming from the courtyard side. So our building for Curry is it's creating this barrier, I guess, from the public view and really creating this nice intimate courtyard for the school to have educational spaces on the inside, amphitheater, and that connectivity from inside and outside. So we talked about exterior last time. This was more of a review. I wanted to share some of the interior progress that we have had with our design. So looking at Curry Elementary's interior spaces, at the bottom left there is our main lobby, and that really does, we focused a lot of attention on the main lobby, making sure we talked about that safety and security with the concept of obviously our secure main lobby and the decentralized administration. So we do have bullet-resistant glass. We do have access control. The district has been talking extensively on what the operations of that front entry might look like. And then also making sure we have the concept with these designs is to have decentralized administration. So up front, you still will have administration functions that are most important to the visitor. So we do have a conference room off there, just like your current rebuilds. We do have restrooms and some other facilities so that people don't have to enter the school if they're just here to visit for a quick visit. The top right there is what we're calling our classroom cohorts. We have learning communities both at Curry and Connolly, a little bit different configuration in both, but you'll see how we have that flexibility. That goal is really clear about that boundless flexibility between classrooms, flex areas, collaboration spaces, where we really provide the classroom and educational space opportunities inside and exterior patios to have movement throughout the day and find those right spaces for education. And then the bottom right there are the learning commons. What we called it the learning commons is basically your library, but we want to make sure that we have it open for multifunction. So there's some built-in seating, reading areas. You're not seeing it with furniture populated here, but there'll be bookcases and mobile furniture for flexibility. You can see in the color schemes here, it's probably worth mentioning, we do have some lighter tones. We did stick with some of the curry blue and yellow that they do have, trying to celebrate their pride of school there, but also keep the tone down a little bit because we are using pattern, we're using geometry to really provide that learning in motion concept throughout. And then I think it's worth emphasizing a little bit about how we're operating or explaining a little bit how we're operating the cohorts and the conversations that we've had educationally. Looking at the cohorts, you can see the flex area in the center and 4 classrooms on outside of it, and then there's a collaboration area. So really, it's all about this group of classrooms, this group of students and teachers to have the flexibility to work together, to team teach, to provide opportunities to go into the flex area and expand their classroom, both into the flex area and the inside, but also some outside patios on the exterior of the building. And then if you look in the bottom left photo, or the rendering, I should say, that's of the flex area with the operable walls closed. So when they are in the closed position, there's lots of writable surface and that separation. And when they're in that open position from the right there, from the classroom, you can see what it will look like to extend the classroom out into that space and have those opportunities. We're gonna do a little video, a little animation that we put together just to kind of help understand that space a little bit better. Oh no. Technology. Okay, well, that might be something we have to follow up with on the board. We do have a couple animations, and I actually have those to send over to Amy as well to put on our website. So if we don't get them to you directly, we will have them on the website for sure. But please do look at that because I think it helps to see how you do move through the space and you have those opportunities for that flexibility. These next images here on the bottom left there is that repeat of the exterior courtyard to the dining, cafeteria, multi-purpose space, as well as the amphitheater. So there's this great opportunity for that connectivity and use of the courtyard and that safety and security because it is absolutely between fencing gates and different levels of protection. It is internal to the campus. The top right there is of our gymnasium for Curry, and our bottom right there is your cafeteria for Curry. So again, we're utilizing the school colors, but also allowing texture and geometry to be playful in the space for our elementary. And you might notice there's a window even. So connecting those learning environments, connecting the library to those assembly spaces to provide, again, more connectivity through the campus. That learning in motion is creating what's inspiring to provide those spaces to be fluid throughout. We have another rendering of our dining cafeteria that you'll have to check out. And then we're going to jump into the site plan again to reorient you with Connolly on the east side of our campus. Again, our main entry is off now Concordia and River for the main campus. I'm gonna try, there we go. And then a reminder of what the exterior can look like. We use a lot of the same materials from Curry to Connolly, CMU, masonry, as well as metal panel and metal screening. So in Curry, it was a little bit more of a screen element. Here, we're using it on the guardrail as well. But of course, we are giving that pride of Connolly with their Connolly purple included in the overall. Another thing to point out is that where Curry was oriented to kind of a sheltered courtyard for their interior space, if you will, for the campus, this one has more of a round courtyard. It's on all sides, but you do have access to your library, to your cafeteria, to your gymnasium. All those assembly spaces are directly off of the courtyard, and this helps to create a nice wayfinding opportunity and gathering zone for the students. Jumping into the inside, some of the same concepts you saw at Curry, but applied differently in Connolly. The bottom left there is our lobby for the Connolly Middle School, again, celebrating our school colors and pride. Also having bullet-resistant glass, access control, and other opportunities operationally to provide that entry as a safe and secure location. The top right there is the example of where the classroom cohort is. I'll go into that in a minute because it is a little bit different at the middle school level. And then the bottom right there is showing the learning commons, again with some of the built-in seating. So may not be as much of like a class reading section, but an area for students to gather and have their educational space in a different way. So going into the cohort for Connolly Middle School, you can see there's, at the middle school scale, it's a larger space, but also incorporates things like labs. So the center of the cohort is that flex area with an outside patio. On either side of the flex area are labs or electives, so depending on which programs get put assigned to that, they can bleed directly into that flex area and have that additional space. And then there's 4 classrooms around the lab with a collaboration area in the center. All of these are connected either by operable partitions or sliding doors so that there's opportunity for that team teaching, for opening up space to larger groups, and then just creating a little bit more flexibility for the way that they can utilize those educational environments. So the bottom right, you can see we have our sliding doors to the flex area closed. Top, or I guess kind of in the center, it's a classroom where it is closed with operable partitions. And bottom left is where you can see how it has that openness from room to room and collaboration areas. And there will be a little animation for you to check out later to walk through that area as well. Just in the still image here, you can see that there is the outside patio with the classrooms and the flex area right adjacent.
Ben is right behind you. I think he's got you set up.
Hey!
Sorry, I only got the PDF and not the full 10
Oh.
gig presentation, so
It was a big one, I get it.
if you don't mind me switching you out,
Let's do it.
happy to put you into whatever.
Architects notoriously have large files.
My dad's an architect, so
You get it.
I know all too well.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Love
Is it in
to
presentation mode?
Should be, or I hope so. Or it's nothing?
Oh, no. I know you were worried about breaking it, but this one might be on me. No, yeah. It's a little bleak.
All right.
Okay.
I don't know how far you need to go back.
Well, that's a good question. All right, so Curry, let's take a step back. All right, I'm gonna push play. All right, so you are in the outside area of Curry, going into what are sliding doors into the flex area of Curry. The right side is closed with an operable partition. The left side is open with an open to the classroom. So you can kind of see how there's that bleed from classroom to flex. And then from inside the classroom, again, you could open it one more time to the classroom adjacent to it. So there is a lot of opportunities for different configurations, and I'm really excited to see how the teachers embrace it and see how they can make this work into their everyday teaching. All right, we're gonna do like the speed trial. Oh, let's not do that again. All right. This one is the cafeteria dining area for Curry. Again, we're starting out in the outside space where the courtyard is. To the top left there is your library, but going into the cafeteria, the serving lines all the way at the back there, plenty of space for full school gathering. The stage is to your left for performances. The hallway that you're seeing kind of in the corner there, that's leading down to the gym and admin for that matter. And then we use the geometry of the acoustic panels and the wall panels to help with some of the acoustics of the space while still being playful for that learning and motion. All right, try right. Nope, there we go. All right, and jumping now back to Connolly. We'll look at the cohort as this one is laid out. Again, beginning from the outside, I think we mentioned last time that the design of these schools is so that we have outside circulation from the courtyards. So from classroom to classroom, there will be exterior circulation. So coming in through from the outside, there are classrooms on both the right and left there that are through sliding doors. Oh, we really sped up. And then we are heading into the flex area. I apologize. I think there might be something weird on this one. You can kind of see how some furniture might lay out in these spaces with flexible furniture. There are sliding doors to the left and to the right. Again, it's for that bleed out of the lab spaces that are adjacent to either of these at the middle school level. Once you go into the lab area or the elective area, depending on which program is there, they actually have connection both to the classroom that's immediately adjacent to them as well as the flex area. Sorry, it's a little jerky on this one. And then looking at a couple of renderings of some of the other assembly spaces for Connolly. Again, talking through that safe and secure courtyard in the bottom left and how it has connection to these assembly spaces, but lots of opportunity for different types of learning. On the bottom right there is your cafeteria and stage performance space. And then the top right there is your gymnasium. And this gymnasium does have a second floor running track, which is what you're kind of seeing the perspective from up here. Lots of natural daylight and 3 courts. So it'll be a great amenity both for the school and community to utilize. Let's go look at a couple of the views. This first one is of the cafeteria coming from the courtyard area. It does have overhead garage doors, so it can bleed out, whether it's a pre-function space for your performance area or whether it's for dining to have the inside-outside connection for dining. Right now, our weather is beautiful, right? And so it's a great opportunity to have that extension of the space. So you're seeing it right now set up for a lunch period, but it has the stage at the end and the serving line to the left there. And the size of the file is making it very jerky. The performance stage, and then you can kind of see back out with the overhead garage doors that can open up to that courtyard once more. Lots of natural daylight in all of our spaces. Red. Okay. And then we will jump into the gymnasium as our last animation to look at the interior spaces. We're starting out on the second floor running track. We have the sports flooring on the running track on the second floor, and we do have a couple openings so that when they are open, you can go directly from the running track to the stands, if you will, the bleacher seating at the main court. We do have 3 courts and side hoops. We do have some, you see some of the projection screens that are down, projection screens and the gymnasium. Hoops won't be down at the same time, but we work with what we got for renderings. And we do have bleachers on both sides of that gymnasium. So it's going to be a spectacular place, a lot of opportunity for, again, all school gatherings, community events, and maybe even some connection with Curry to utilize it with them as well. And then the windows at the end are your connection to your courtyard as well, to orient you. Okay. This is a project schedule. You saw a brief part of it last time, small little updates of where we are now. We've had a number of community or school engagements with both staff, students, community, like the Fall Festival is coming up with Connolly, so we're going to go attend that one as well. And Aspire Open House is one of the events that we're targeting. I believe there's a band concert at Curry that we're looking at to attend as well, so that we're taking advantage of the opportunities that already has all school gatherings, make ourselves available, answer questions. I know parents are excited and maybe worried about things that they don't know, so we can help answer questions where we can there. We also have in the past with your schools that we have been participating with done construction in the classroom, and so I know Cora and ourselves are working to solidify some dates and opportunities to really use this opportunity, or construction's next door, to educate them on what a design process looks like and the construction process. So we're looking forward to those opportunities too. Other than that, project schedule, we are in for regulatory review right now. As Brian had mentioned, they're ready for some demo, but we have heard that we're going to get foundations and civil this week as well, so we're going to be ready to hit the ground running. Cora is working on GMP2 at the moment, and we have building review still to be finished up with the city of Tempe. But once we have foundations, we can start the process, and then by the time we're ready for the building to come on board, we should be through the regulatory review for that piece as well. So we have it staged into different parts and pieces. All right, I think I'm going to move on to the last slide, which is GMP 1, and of course, if there's any follow-up questions.
Board President, excuse me, Board President, board members, and Dr. Driscoll. Hi, I'm Jeff Smith, Senior Pre-Construction Manager with Core Construction. I too am honored to be part of this project. It's not every day that you get to do something as cool as hopefully this project will actually look like in the field. So even looking at the renders, I've been staring at the plans the whole time, and just looking at it in 3D is pretty magical. So GMP number 1 is $12.4 million here. Again, that's the first of 2 GMPs. We are working on GMP number 2. We currently have a draft together, and we're working on it with the rest of the team. We will be back to you guys in about a month for that approval. As for what is included in GMP number 1, it is all the components basically to get us going on the building construction that is in the fields. So that includes demolition, the earthwork, site utilities, and then an early procurement of the elevator. And then, like I said, we are working on GMP number 2. We will be back to you guys on the 3rd of next month for that board. And currently, we're trending pretty good, and it's looking like we might be under budget. So with that, I think we can open it up to any questions that you guys may have.
Mrs. Windsor.
Thank you, Madam President. I just have a quick question for you. I have several questions. Would you like me to, are you sure? Everybody else okay? Okay. All right, so I want to give a little context to some of my questions. I'm coming at this that I've worked in schools for over 28 years, and I'm a parent who drops off at Connolly. So I first of all want to thank you for having separate drop-off areas. If I'm 5 minutes late, I'm stuck in the Curry drop-off, and I so appreciate for future parents to not have to deal with that. I don't get to benefit, but that's okay. So let's start with the Curry rendering. If I noticed correctly, it looks like there's exposed pipes in the ceiling. They look like blue and yellow pipes. Was that accurate, or was that a design?
The blue and yellow are actually acoustic panels, so it was to provide additional acoustic value to the ceiling space. So we
The running ones are?
The ones that were kind of colored. Can we go back? So we do have an open ceiling, so you will see exposed structure, exposed HVAC, probably will see a conduit or plumbing pipe in the ceiling space. It will be painted out.
Those right there?
Yeah, the bottom right, those are actually acoustic panels.
Oh, good.
So they have acoustic value on all 3 exposed sides. Oh, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Technically 4 sides. So those are actually acoustic panels, and that was one of the design motifs to bring that energy of geometry in the space. But we do have exposed ceilings, so yeah, you might see some exposed pipes or ductwork. It's an opportunity for some learning and engagement for the students to understand what's in their ceiling.
Okay, so I want to know the ceiling height. And that's important because I went to Tempe High with exposed pipes, and kids like to hang from them, so.
Oh, it's much higher than that.
Okay.
These acoustic panels are the lowest piece, and those are probably, I believe if they're not 10'6", they're 11 foot. They're somewhere in that range. So they're not at a
And that's the same design for Connolly as well, that we'll see the exposed?
Yeah, Connolly's, I believe, might be a little bit higher. I think those ones are for sure 11
Even
foot.
better, because they're taller. That's
Yes.
fabulous. Okay. And then for the tiered seating area at both schools, can you tell me what the line of sight is for adults?
So you can see this one here in the Learning Commons is a little bit more of an L shape. So the librarian circulation desk is placed in a way so that they have both visibility from the corner of it.
Okay.
So there is supervision from the desk itself. Obviously, if someone is, that's not obviously, but I think the intent is for if someone is going to be in those tiered seating, that either it's going to be a downtime when the librarian has that visibility, or it's going to be a classroom setting. So we do have some presentation screens in that area, and opportunity for a teacher actually to put an entire class right there and actually present to them or talk with them or have group discussion, those type of things. So it could be that a teacher goes in and has that secondary supervision, or it could be the librarian has that opportunity.
Okay, so just to be clear, even at the middle school,
Yes.
for horizontal
Same.
spaces, we're going to have a clear line of sight.
Absolutely.
Fabulous. All right, next one. You referred to the open learning areas outside. Is there plans to have reduced pigeon droppings than what we've seen at other schools with the same idea?
So we have done every effort on the first, so we have a first floor and a second floor condition. On the second floor condition, we have the opportunity, you've probably seen it in a number of the schools where we put the structure on the top side of the canopy. I know that McCamey and Shamley, we did that as well, so that there is no structure to perch in. There's no structure to perch in. So that does help tremendously of pigeon droppings on the second floor. On the first floor, we can't put the structure on top of it because of the walkway situation, but we did use what we call their HSS beams, where they are a closed rectangle so that there isn't flanges like an I-beam would have for extra perching. So we took as many precautions as we could to close off those opportunities and spaces.
Great. In the Curry Flex area, the ceiling, right there, the rendering on the left.
Yes.
Is that an open ceiling to like the second floor?
No, it's an open to the floor structure above, but not to the second floor. So it's not a two-story space; it's a single-story space.
Okay.
Again, it is high, and those kind of octagon shapes are acoustic clouds.
Okay. And then specifically at Curry, it seems like there's insufficient shade outside. And I know that the renderings probably have small trees, but they look like they're going to be very well spaced. Is that just for
So you'll have
aesthetics
to,
right
one,
now?
forgive me because I am not a landscape architect,
Okay.
and our renderings are done by architects.
Got it, that's fine. I assumed that, but I just wanted to ask because
We do have a number of trees. We do have shade structures over the play structures. And also what you did see at the amphitheater and entering the cafeteria, because that's north facing the building and that shade structure will stretch further than just directly down, which will be wonderful. So we should have lots of shade, definitely in the morning and the afternoon. The evening sun will be a little rough, but also school is out by that time, so we'll have to work through that. That's just because Western sun is Western sun.
Yep, for sure. Okay, and I know that this won't be on our plans right now, but has there already been discussions about we're a one-to-one district? Where are we going to put outlets beyond just the peripheral?
We have had that conversation because we have so many moving walls, whether it's a sliding glass door or operable partition. So we do have a number of actual cord drops from above. So you'll see that we have, I believe it is 4 per room, and then anywhere we can fit an outlet on the exterior walls, we put outlets. So we intentionally put more outlets than we would a standard space because we know that there's a lot of opportunity for flexibility if you have the power for it.
Right. I just would prefer us to be able to avoid power strips because of tripping hazards.
Agreed.
2 more questions. Well, one of them is going to have multiple questions, but the opening from the running track to the stadium seating at Connolly, how do we secure those openings when we don't want kids?
So they're on hinges, so they close down to a standardized guardrail. And then when you have events that you want that connectivity for circulation purposes, then you can open them and they're held in an open position. So it's kind of both situations.
Okay, so are we going to be able to lock them where kids
Yes.
can't open them themselves?
Yes.
Okay. And my last question that has layers is glass walls. We were very clear at the beginning that we were concerned about glass walls. I did hear bullet resistant, which is like a film, right, that you put on it. But in the rendering with the dining room and cafeteria, it looks very clear. Can you talk to me about why that's a good idea? Besides, I mean, it looks beautiful.
Yes. It does look beautiful, but it also provides a lot of daylight and visibility. I think I had talked a little bit about CEPTED strategies the first time I was here.
Can you say that again?
CEPTED, crime prevention through environmental design. It's an acronym. We love acronyms, right?
Okay.
So CEPTED design talks about glazing actually as a security measure, because if you can see problems coming, then you can react better than if it just shows up and opens the door, right? So actually glazing provides both the sense of security because you have the visibility and you can react to it, and then police officers actually highly encourage that for that same reason. So whether it is, if you did have that completely blocked off, now you also have a zone where students aren't supervised, where bullying can happen. So both safety and security, both in the worst scenario of an intruder, and then just the everyday scenario of making sure students are good to students.
Okay, can I ask Mr. Carbajal?
Mr. Carbajal?
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Driscoll, thank you. I have been involved in these conversations throughout the process. And I think Ms. Leach hit it right on the head. I think we've had even conversations on I'll say on a smaller scale at different sites, for example, with a big fenced, chain link fence around the playground, right? And I've had conversations with principal and they say, well, I want it so people can't look in. And I said, well, great, but the downside of that is you can't see out, right? And I think there's a lot of, there's a lot of credibility to the fact of seeing that threat that's coming if it comes. And we have put in a lot of research into this, and we even worked with Travis Forrester with Armored One, who did the site assessment, because we had that 1-year consultation with him, and he is heavily involved in that glass protection, layering, and making sure that we had the proper standards for Conley and Curry in these builds. So I feel comfortable with the direction we're going with that.
Great, thank you. And then the last two questions I have about the dining room and cafeteria, the sliding doors, are the tracks going to be up in the ceiling, not on the ground?
So we only have the sliding doors in the cafeteria at
Right.
Connolly, and those are overhead garage doors. So yes, they're up above the ceiling.
They're garage doors?
Correct.
I thought you said sliding like they collapse to the side.
I may have misspoken, I'm
okay.
not sure.
And Curry does not have that?
Curry does not. They have just standard swing doors and then the glass for the connection.
Okay, and last question, the flow of the cafeteria at Curry, the serving lines look like they're in the very back. I just want to know if Food and Nutrition have an opinion about having kids walk all the way to the back past friends as they're trying to get their lunches and the possible delays of all that socialization that happens.
So I think there's a couple different reasons for the location of it. One is that the kitchen service, by building in the fields, we have limited street access. So the service is to that direction, for one. But the other part of that is that when we discussed it with the food service, we talked about the opportunities to line up and have that line extend from the courtyard area.
Because Connolly's service is on the side, correct?
It
Not
is.
at the very back.
Depends on how you look at it. It's from the back from the courtyard, but it is on the side
Yeah.
of the larger, like the rectangle of the space. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
All right, as long as Food and Nutrition's okay with that, I'm cool.
And Connolly's a little different too because of the way it has two U-shaped serving lines to maximize the opportunities for students to get in and out in an efficient manner.
Perfect. Thank you for entertaining my questions.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Madam President.
Mr. Lemon?
Thank you, Madam President. I think it may be the other item on CORE's presentation. There's 47 pages or something. And most of the plans were submitted in June and July. And I did see somewhere on equipment, 3 elevators. Were there 2 in Curry and 1 at,
The opposite. 2 in Connolly and 1 in Curry.
and from an ADA perspective, how are they operated?
So for location purposes, ADA, I mean, it's accessible in the sense the way all your other elevators are accessible through your administration, right? So it's not that they can just get on the elevator and go, they have to have permission to do so. But I would say that they are located in centralized locations. So on Curry, we made sure it was located near the assembly spaces, near the admin, and then the entry to the classroom areas, so that there is a centralized location that whoever does need that assistance has good access to all of those amenities. And then on Connolly, we have them kind of kitty corner from each other. So we looked very strategically to make sure that people were not having to go out of their way to get to the elevator or that they had a longer path. And so by making them kitty corner, it really provided a great opportunity from any part in the campus to have access.
Thank you. And I think one of the comments you made in the presentation about the administration is decentralized except for the open office. And one of the things that I remember from past times is the administration was so far away from the classroom that it just took a long time to respond to anything.
So the only office that is in that front office, like right by the reception, is the principal. There's a conference room up there. There is mailboxes and some of those functions at the front, but other locations are in the classroom cohorts. So they're actually adjacent to them with So if you have an assistant principal, a counselor, if you have an SRO at the middle school, those offices are part of admin spaces that are scattered throughout and adjacent to your classrooms, as you noted.
And finally, Madam President, I have to ask on behalf of our nurses, how big will the nurses' office be and how many areas will they have to let kids lie down?
So we looked at the SFB as the minimum standards for how many cots. So we do have 4 cot locations for Connolly. I believe we have up to 3. If they need the third one, it'll be the question for Curry. They do have an office in their nurses' suite. They do have a restroom with a shower in that nurses' suite, and they have lots of storage starting with your Tempe standards, we'll put it that way.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Madam President. You mentioned earlier that there were, I don't know, gates or something to block off access to certain parking areas.
So our buildings are a barrier to a degree, but between every building, there is fencing and gates so that there is not, the parking is outside the secure perimeter of the main campus.
I suppose the one area that I have questions about is the, I don't know, middle parking lot that's near the fields. Would that have a, I guess, swinging gate or?
We do have, so the fields are, we went through an exercise with the district on fencing and gates to make sure that we had it closed off during the school day. So those would not be accessed by the community during the school day, but would have openness after hours. So there is a fence line between the 2 fields so that Curry has a separation from Connolly during the school day, and those are both separated from the public. During after hours, there are gates so that vehicles and pedestrians can have access to the fields or the access to that parking lot after hours.
Okay. I suppose, yeah, just visually looking at it, like Country Club Way going into the fields, I don't really have a whole lot of concerns about like parents or what have you. It's really high school kids looking for a quiet place, trying to get to this parking lot that suddenly is a little secluded.
So during the school day, there's a secure perimeter on the entire perimeter. So you can't actually have full access during the school day. It'd be after hours that there's opportunity for that.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Well, first I want to thank you all because I have walked every foot of that property, and this is probably has to be the most difficult bow tie property that you've ever had to put all this on. Is that, am I right?
We called it the bow
My
tie.
uncle's an architect, and I showed him, and he's like, I don't even know how they're going to do this. So, and then I don't know if you all know, but there's an old, we used to have irrigation, so there's that line, and then they're also using that line. And so kudos to you for making that happen, and also for meeting with those neighbors who were concerned. You guys did a really good job with them, so thank you for doing that. You guys answered 5 of my questions, which is awesome. My question is the lots of glass. It's making me very nervous. One, Dr. Driscoll, I want to know, we already have some new builds that have this glass and it's open. Have any of the teachers said it's been distracting when they're in their learning environment, when the kids are in separate learning environments?
Say that one more time.
You know how some of our new builds already have that glass and open? Is it distracting to the learning environment?
I would say when it first starts, yes, and then everybody gets used to it.
Okay.
And so it's not a thing. We had at Mosley, we had what was it, where we had career day there, and we had all these people, and people were walking up and down the hallways, and you just get used, kids get used to it. So I think the first week, it's a novelty because they'd never seen, but then after that, it's business as usual.
Okay, and then the glass thing just makes me so nervous, but I'm going to trust all the professionals in the room that they know how to do safety. And then the open air concept, I just want to make sure that we won't have an issue, like at one of our schools, we have the open air concept, and when you go to open the door, and then it drug on the AC, and then we've had some AC issues. We've looked at, I'm sure you have, but just because it's on my mind, airflow, all of that stuff, we're not going to have like these tunnels somewhere, right?
Yeah, What you're referring to is some positive or negative pressure that is basically either making the door swing open really fast or
just
hard
not.
to open.
Yes, okay.
We are working extensively to make sure that our mechanical system is appropriate, but also we've talked extensively with CORE about making sure that when we do have our startup, that we do additional, we'll call it commissioning, to make sure that everything is working as it should. So yes, on paper, it is that way. It is something we're going to keep an eye on during construction to make sure that it does operate as intended.
And both schools are on separate HVAC systems, is that correct?
Correct.
And then, I know this isn't on here, it's probably the landscape one, but as far as handicap accessibility, playgrounds that they can that they can enjoy also, is important to me, so I want you to take that back if you would.
Absolutely.
Because in some of our schools that are older, the kids just sit there and watch the other kids play, and I don't want that anymore. And we don't have to have it that way. So, yeah, thank you. I can't wait. The school is starting construction. Next year, the students will come back to same old with gates around them, right? But they'll be in the same buildings.
Correct.
And then the next year, we go a few months, and then the school is open. It's not the
20
next class that will have it open, it will be the next or the next.
Fall of '27 will
Okay.
be when they're going to move into they'll be starting in their new buildings.
Okay,
The fields will not be complete at that point.
Right.
And so during that school year, it will be complete with the fields.
okay, but kids will be in the new building in 2027.
Correct.
Okay, I think that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
I'm
time.
excited.
We're all very excited. I
Yes.
can't wait to see it. Thank you.
Okay, 8.01, I have one blue card this evening, and we have a quick video to watch before we proceed. The time limit for the governing board meeting will be 3 minutes each. Ms. Miller will watch the video, and then you can come up.
Persons wishing to address the board must fill out the Request to Address the Board card and submit it to the board's executive coordinator prior to the start of the board meeting. Per Governing Board Policy BEDH, Public Participation at Board Meetings, the Governing Board President shall set a time limit on the length of the comment period. Also per Governing Board Policy BEDH, for items on the agenda, individuals will be called upon when the item is introduced. For topics not on the agenda, citizens will be called upon during this portion of the meeting under Open Call to the Public. In compliance with the open meeting law, the governing board will neither discuss nor take action on items raised during this portion of the agenda. When necessary, issues will be taken under advisement and placed on a subsequent agenda. During the open call to the public, issues addressed must be within the jurisdiction of the board.
Ms. Winona Miller.
Good evening, Chair and members of the school board. My name is Winona Miller, and I am a parent and proud member of the Native American program. I appreciate this opportunity to speak. I also like to take this time to thank Dr. Driscoll for acknowledging the Native American program, as November marks the beginning of Native American Heritage Month, which honors and celebrates the achievements and contributions of individuals in the Native American community. I want to address the status of some initiatives that were designed to support our Indigenous students and foster meaningful relations with our families. From an Indigenous perspective, these commitments are not just administrative tasks, they are acts of honoring our partnerships and building the cultural foundation necessary for our children to thrive. The delay in implementing integration of Indigenous content into the curriculum and professional development for staff means that our students continue to attend a system that is not fully equipped to affirm their identities or adequately educate their peers about our history and culture. This impacts their sense of belonging and their educational outcomes. Therefore, I am respectfully asking the school board for a public commitment to revitalizing and helping me complete these initiatives, specifically guidance on a timeline for full implementation of representation of Indigenous students in curriculum and cultural awareness training for staff. We are committed partners in the education of all our children of TD3. Moving initiatives from paper to practice is essential not only for Indigenous student achievement, but for the entire district to truly embody its values of equity and respect. I look forward to our continued partnership on these vital initiatives. Thank you so much, and also please, if anyone has a time, open invitation to come to any of our meetings at the American program. Times and dates are on the website, TD3 website. Thank you.
Item 9.01 has been moved already. Item 9.02 will be moved. We're at 9.03, discussion, consideration, and possible approval of guaranteed maximum price number 1 for construction services at Curry Elementary and Connolly Middle School rebuild. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the guaranteed maximum price number 1 for construction services at Curry and Connolly Schools rebuild.
Do I have a second? Second. I'm going to open it for discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes aye. 9.04, discussion, consideration, and possible approval of the energy accountability technician position and the corresponding job position. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the energy accountability technician position and the job description.
Do I have a second? Second. Open for discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes. 9.05, discussion and first review of proposed changes to policy JFB, open enrollment. There's going to be no vote on this. I'm just opening it up for discussion only. Seeing no discussion, 10.01, reports from standing committees, and I am the standing committee. So we did have our health trust meeting, and some things to really be aware of. I need everyone to make sure that they're aware of the timeline change for how our deductibles are going to work. There is a meeting today, happened, Friday, November 7th. So if you didn't attend the October 28th meeting and you didn't attend this morning's meeting, please attend Friday, November 7th at the district office, boardroom 2:30 to 3:30. If anybody has attended it and knows somebody who hasn't, please make sure that they contact someone at the district office to understand this new timeline. It's been a request from our employees because our deductible was on a different time than the year, and when the policy started, and it started to get really confusing. And so this is our opportunity to change it up, but we're gonna have a little bit of a kink here. So I want to make sure that everybody understands, especially going into December, when a lot of people go to do their doctor's appointments and any medical procedures that they need, that they understand how this is going to work. It's also important to understand we have a really unique situation at Tempe Elementary. Tempe Elementary is self-insured. It means that we pay for our insurance claims, but it also means that it gives us the liberty and the flexibility to do our best to offer services that wouldn't necessarily regularly be offered, because we choose and you choose what you guys want and need. This is becoming very unique in all of the United States, not just in the state of Arizona. But what it means is I want to stress that we pay for prescriptions, like the bill comes to us, we pay it. We pay for the services that you receive, hospital services, your urgent care services, your doctor services. So when we talk to you all about making sure that you do your preventative health care, and you're thinking, well, why would you want to pay for that? Like, that's just another thing you'd have to pay for. It's because there might be something that is easily taken care of that you might not know about, that you can find out in your yearly exam. So please, 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 please do your yearly exams, because we want you to be well and we want you to be serving our students. With that said, it's really important, if you can, to talk to your doctor about generic medications. This is where we are having major, major expenses. And if you can talk to your doctor, and you're welcome to call the office and talk to Sandra too, if you get a list, it will help a lot, because every dollar that we spend is money spent that we can't spend somewhere else. But there are options for us to lower some costs, not all costs. So it's kind of unique to think about insurance this way. Most people say, well, I have my insurance, I'm going to do whatever I want with it, and that's fine. And usually you think that the bill is being paid by someone else. The bill is being paid for by us, and we wanted to continue to offer a no-cost plan, and we want to continue to offer the best healthcare that we possibly can, and offer even more things that you might not get in a traditional setting. So that's how you help us. With that said, here it is, switch to generic. There are yoga classes. See, these are like the cool things. You can go to the Humane Society and help with your stress. That's awesome. They're going on November 13th. You can do pottery. Like, we offer those. We pay for those. December 12th, blood drive. Please, everyone, if you can, mark it down. They could use all the blood they can get. And our district did a great job, and every year we do more and more, and we love to just be able to give as much as we can to the community. Love Your Heart is going to be February 14th. And again, your deductible reset. Make sure you go to that meeting. If you didn't go to the meeting, call Sandra and learn everything you can to make sure that you understand what changes that we're making, so that in a few months you go, oh gosh, I didn't know. So that's my update. Give me a moment to regroup. Item 10.02, student activity report for July 2025. Do we have any questions or comments on this? Item 10.03, student activity report for August 2025. Do we have any questions or comments on this? Seeing none. Item 10.04, student activity report for September 2025. Do we have any questions or comments? And 11.01, board information. Mrs. Windsor.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I'd like to request if we could get a board briefing about the medical insurance changes and how they work in terms of contracts. If somebody's contract ends in June, how does that work if they still are insured?
Yes, we can come at the next board meeting and give you guys an update about that.
Thank you. I don't really want to attend one of the meetings, so I appreciate that. And then I wanted to, first of all, a huge shout out to the community for passing our bond. That was massive, and we appreciate the fabulous support that we had from the beginning, and to all those who helped organize the walks and the distribution of literature. We really appreciate all your efforts so that we can move on and do great things for kids. Also, I attended the Mosley Esports competition. I did not stay to the end, so I was appreciative of the announcement of the winners in the celebration. But I also was able to walk through the classrooms thanks to the glass walls and see the kids in action in their classrooms as well prior to going into the esports competition. Also, the Curry Connolly groundbreaking. Super impressed that we had representation from both the choir from Curry, the jazz band from Connolly, and then really strong support from the community. That was impressive and a little bit surprising to me in the middle of the day. So that was fabulous, and thank you for all who made that a great event and had so many people out there to support us. Thank you.
Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Madam President. I just also wanted to, thank the Tempe community for passing the bond. It shows the commitment to care that we have to public education here. That not just passed it, but to pass it with the margin that we had, and also just, there can be so many barriers to education, and what we don't want is to have the physical buildings themselves to be one of those. And so to, know the investment that it takes to educate kids and to pass something as big as a bond is to make the buildings better and, have air conditioning here in Arizona. It's really special what we have here, and I just want to thank you.
Mr. Lemon?
Thank you, Madam President. I too attended the Conley groundbreaking. That cookie was really good. But I was particularly impressed that, Dr. John Barrissey was there, as well as Chris Bush and other people supporting and the community. And they're excited, and I was glad to see that. So it was well done, well done. And I enjoyed looking at the picture on LinkedIn. And I've seen more and more stuff on LinkedIn about TD3, all the different things. And I think it just brings attention to what we're doing. And I think maybe that'll help us bring in more parents and kids in. And then finally, a big thank you to the voters. I don't know what happened up in my precinct. I had my sign out. It's been out for weeks. And but I appreciate it. And I can't remember if there's ever been a bond or an override that's been rejected, well, certainly since the 1980s and on. But I think that the last one was somewhere in the 70s. And Mr. Carbajal, I don't know if you were here then either.
No, sorry, I was not.
So, but anyway, it's remarkable what the community does to support education. I appreciate it. And our connection all the way from preschool all the way up through graduate school at ASU is just tremendous. So thank you.
I attended the Maricopa County School Board Conference a few weeks ago, and I was delighted to be a part of the panels that we had, and to be in a room where we all discovered that no matter what party we're in or what our background is, that we have very similar concerns about the safety of our children. We have very similar concerns about accessibility for those, for all students. And it was a little bit eye-opening for some to discover that the barriers that the school districts are having in order to provide some of those things has been placed on us by the state legislature and recently continued to be changed by the state legislature. And I appreciate those who were open for conversation to discuss how it's very important that we communicate to those that are down representing us that some of these decisions they make have consequences that prevent us from helping to keep our children safe and for providing safe spaces and accessible spaces for our children. So I'd like to thank everyone in that room for having the hard conversation. The eGames Bravo IT department Holy cow, that was an endeavor and it was awesome. And I would like to thank the students because they sat with me and told me every reason why we have to keep this program, what they're learning from the program, how the standards associated with the program. And the number one thing was teamwork. We don't think about it, but the children are very siloed now, right? Especially even with gaming, right? They can go on their game, they can talk in their own worlds, they have their cell phones. And they said, believe it or not, these e-games we have to do in groups and we have to learn from groups. And we have to trust each other and we have to rely on each other. And that was probably my favorite thing to hear about them. Of course, they're also, learning math and how many times they got to hit and where they got to go and all those good things. But we all took it for granted that we actually had to get on our bike and go over and talk to somebody, and they don't get that opportunity. They can kind of be stuck in their world. So I love esports. I'd like to see more esports. I know Darren's over there thinking, oh my God, how often? And I'm hoping that, especially with the bond, that we can consider continuing to offer this because it's a big business. And if these kids can learn skills and they were proving to me what jobs they could get and then where the starting pay was, they were ready to rock and roll with me. So kudos to them. And it was fun. I'd like to thank Mr. Lemon and my family who's here today for going to Shamley to clean up. We all got bit by many mosquitoes and things that we're not quite sure were, but we left that place better than it was. And the community came out. There was a lot of people that are not associated with us that came out to support Shamley and the cleanup of the neighborhood, and not just the school. We cleaned alleys, we cleaned people's yards. The storm had just happened, so we actually were collecting trampoline pieces and returning them to the trampoline that we thought it might belong to at each house. But thank you, community, because that is what this is about, right? And thank you, Mr. Lemon, because it was a joy to be with you that day. And trunk or treats and fall festivals and harvest things and all that has been going on, and it's awesome, and it takes a lot of work, and people don't get paid to do that after, and they do it because they love it and they love our kids. So thank you to everyone. And to our custodians, oh my gosh, they clean the school, and then everyone comes back, and then we mess it all up, and then everyone leaves, and they clean the school, and then they start their day over again, and they're going and working hours way over what they usually do. So thank your custodian. Tomorrow I want it to be Thank Your Custodian Day. Brody, can you make it Thank Your Custodian Day tomorrow? Thank you. And we had the East Valley School Board Conference this week. We all got together, and I heard what things other schools were doing, and I really pretty much said I'm not sharing anything until our bond passes, and that was the next day, and so they didn't get much out of me, but I did enjoy the chocolate cake. And groundbreaking, bravo, 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 bravo. It was awesome. All of our neighbors have come out to me throughout the week and said, I heard your speech. We didn't even know. And so, because they could hear it through the loudspeaker. So sound was great. The people who attended was great. And to all the community who is supporting this and who supported our bond last night, thank you. Lastly, Frank Elementary had an awesome assembly on Friday. And they had the beekeeper and all the bees were the teachers. And those assemblies, if anybody hasn't been to the morning assemblies at any of our schools, if you want a nice topping to the end of your week, go to one of those assemblies because it's so fun and they celebrate the kids and everything that they've done. That's enough about me. Okay. Item 12.01, announcements and upcoming events. Veterans Day is Tuesday, November 11th, 2025. All schools and district offices will be closed. And I would like to thank all the veterans that work for us and for all of them that are in our community. There will be an agenda. Wow, I get choked up sometimes on things like that. Sorry. There will be an agenda committee meeting on Wednesday, November 12th, 2025 at 11 a.m. The next regularly scheduled governing board meeting is Wednesday, November 19th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Thanksgiving break will be Wednesday, November 26th, 2025, to Friday, November 28th, 2025. All schools and district offices will be closed. On Parent Square, I want to add this, there is information where all of our families can go if they have some food insecurity while our schools are closed. Please check Parent Square. If you don't have a cell phone or you know somebody who doesn't, please let them know to go to their office and talk with their principals and not to be ashamed. There are resources, and we will do everything we can to provide for our families. Now, may I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
Motion to move into executive session, please.
Do I have a second to move into executive session?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We will now move into executive session at this time, and we will come back, and it will be brief.
Madam President, I move we adjourn the executive session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Open for discussion? No discussion? Aye. Motion passes. Discussion, consideration, and possible approval of, to authorize legal counsel to modify superintendent's contract as directed in executive session to be brought back to the board for review at a future meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. All those in favor? Open for discussion? Seeing none? Motion passes. Good night, everyone. Oh, shoot. Go. At this, see, this is what happens when it's not all in order.
Madam President, I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
Second.
And I bet everyone all those in favor?
Aye. There we go.
All those in favor? Good night, everybody.